I guess it's there. Whoops.
So welcome to our presentation today on the problem and solution for Rye International Jazz Festival. My name is Stacey Crouch.
And I'm Helen Mahoney.
So, the rise of jazz in the early 20th century was the birth of a new rebellion in the South. Jazz was played in untraditional ways in untraditional venues and went hand in hand with the barely legal. Despite this, with jazz's eccentric ways and alternative music style, it drew masses of blacks and whites to the dance halls where it was once played. As time passed, it became more popular in the Roaring Twenties, where flappers danced the jitterbug to its contagious beats and danced the night away in illegal speakeasies. It must be noted the important relationship between improvisation and jazz, and the fact that there is no right or wrong.
Rye International Jazz Festival is held over 5 days during August bank holiday weekend. It was really successful in the past 2 previous years, so this year there are already plans underway. The main objective is to have a really best of live entertainment festival offering diversity, variety and inclusion, with its main aim being to build a sustainable festival in the unique town of Rye, where art and culture are 2 of its core identities.
So, our problem. With jazz's intellectual reputation, we've identified that some people may feel socially excluded from this genre of music. However, jazz is somewhat a rebellious form and should be a form of exclusion. As well as this, we've identified that there is no experiential build-up in Rye on the lead up to the festival to get both the town and locals and the vast amount of tourism excited. Looking at the jazz audience, we've identified that the ticketed events do already have a well-established clientele. However, these do fit the traditional stereotype of a jazz listener. The typical stereotype of a jazz listener ranges from 50-50 male and female, with the age group of 25 to 34 and 65 and above. Looking at the 65 and above range, it's key to identify that this is due to because jazz would have once been really popular in their youth. And this is something that we are trying to replicate and make it exciting and popular in the youth of today.
Street performers appear throughout the weekend and are really successful in building a fun and vibrant atmosphere. So our solution is that we propose a flash mob in the form of a jazz mob, and hopefully this will create some inclusion because it's quite an impulsive act that will catch passers-by's attention. We aim to break the habits of the audiences of the festival because it's still quite young, it's in its first 2 years, so we're breaking habits of audiences that might feel excluded and creating this feel of inclusion by doing the flash mob. This is our mood board we have created. And it's inspired by Rye and jazz, and then in the middle we've done a representation of what we would do.
And we've also got a video, which was sort of the core inspiration of why we chose to do a flash mob. This happened in Melbourne, Australia, and we just think it shows why it's impulsive, why it catches passers-by, and just makes it fun.
So why a flash mob? Flash mobs first emerged in 2003 and are seen as spontaneous, creative performances that are also socially engaging. Some may say that flash mobs are already a thing of the past. However, we feel that it's the most appropriate solution to our problem because, like flash mobs, jazz is also quite improvisational and spontaneous. We aim to bring music to the audience, therefore breaking down barriers as they might not have listened to it before, therefore creating new audiences as well. And by bringing jazz to them instead of the other way round, it also avoids a challenge that some art festival organisers face by getting inclusion and interaction with audiences.
So the area Rye, as you can see in this picture here, Rye is a hub of, well, not represented in that picture, but Rye is a hub of, in the summer. It's a harbour town, it's moments away from the beach. A survey by the Tourism South East showed that over 50% of the people surveyed were return visitors to the town of Rye, which shows great potential to get people to come back for future festivals as well. On top of this, 54% of them were visiting Rye for their old art and culture elements. And the area in the picture is known as the Strand. It's just next to the harbour, and just like the video you've just seen, it's also got many outside eateries and it's surrounded by some quirky antique shops. It's also a walk-through area, so it has the opportunity to catch people sitting down outside as well as walking through to go to the harbour. Obviously in that picture that's not really represented, however we did do that in December, and in December Rye isn't as busy as in the summer months. As the festival is on August Bank Holiday, we proposed that we would do this a weekend before the festival, when there is tourism in the town, locals are out because the weather is hopefully really lovely, and it's just a great place to catch people. So the people who would do our flash mob, in association with the local Rye College, they're an arts and enterprise specialist, and as well with the festival organiser who also has a really good relationship with the college. We, just like this video, they use local schools to put the band together, and that's something we would hope to do to get younger people involved in the creation. And also seen from the video, people taking pictures, and it shows an impulsive act afterwards and people are excited. So we can have the opportunity for tickets to be on sale afterwards to catch people in their impulsive excitement, as well as flyers to hand out for people who may not want to buy a ticket straight away, just to reinforce why the Jazz Festival has just taken place.
So jazz today. We feel that jazz is on the rise, especially because of remakes of films such as Great Gatsby. The soundtrack of Great Gatsby included a mixture of modern songs with a jazz twist, such as Beyonce's Crazy in Love, which was the song that was playing when you came in, and also newly written songs such as will.i.am's Bang Bang. Jay-Z was a musical producer for the film, and his aim was to translate jazz into musical equivalents of our time by creating hip-hop with traditional jazz and contemporary music styles, therefore showing that jazz still is influential in today's musical world.
So, to conclude, in the eyes and the mind of the festival organiser, which is a perspective we've been trying to take throughout this project, we've identified the key importance for audience development. As well as this, we have recognised that there is an importance to maintain our existing clients and the existing customers that already come to the Jazz Festival. However, we have seen that there is this potential growth to move into a new area. Moving away from exclusion and into inclusion, using jazz enthusiasts, the locals and the vast amount of tourism in Rye at our disposal, we want to break down barriers and build bridges while the festival is only in its third year, so that we are able to solve a problem before it's actually a habit and in place, and something that wouldn't have to be solved in the future.
We've put together this little package, it's got loads of stuff inside, and it's what we would present to the festival organiser. Yeah, with the recording of today as well. But for your reference, we've put our references in, just so you can see what we've been looking at throughout.
And that's your jazz mob.
Yeah,
There's some paper in there as well.
yeah, it's like they're just written like the problem and solution as well.
No, that isn't.
Does it come up?
Like a stock.
What's in here?
Okay.
Alright.
just like saying what we thought the problem was and what the solution was.
Thank you for listening. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Yeah, could you give me a little bit more detail about the festival itself at the moment? So it's only had 2 years,
It's
so it's in
correct.
its third year. So what you said? Did you say that they fitted the audience fits what we know about jazz audiences? They're a lot older.
Yeah. So people who go to particular events in the evenings sort of sit down and you really have to
Yeah.
listen to
Yeah.
it. And that is sort of the traditional stereotype. However, there's quite a lot of street acts, which, like Helen said, during
Yeah.
the festival, they're sort of on the side, which that is families walking past, they stop and watch it. So we thought something like a jazz mob sort of reflects that because it catches people.
Yeah.
So if we can try and emphasise that beforehand, because yeah, the street performers do a really good job on the day, but then people might think, oh, it's too late, like, oh, that would have been really good to go
Yeah.
to, but it's too late now. Whereas if we try and do it the week before
Yeah.
and get people in the same, that's sort of the same reflection of the street performers, it'd be really great to grab their
So the jazz festival just the weekend.
and next 5 days.
5 days over
So that's why,
holiday.
yeah. So those street performers are during those 5 days,
Yeah.
as opposed to being used from a
Yeah.
communication perspective. So
Yeah.
what's the capacity of the festival? What spare capacity is there in terms of?
I think the evening sort of, the daytime tickets, there is still capacity left over. They're not completely sold out yet. He could sell more. There was no sold out after the festival, so there is still potential to fill them. But they're not, it's successful, it still gets by,
Yeah.
but there is room for more.
Would you change the programme to reflect what you're doing your jazz mob to help modernise it in the way that you
Mm.
I think-
described?
You could make it more like family friendly.
Yeah. So they're quite good at that. They've got quite a lot of like young musicians that play
Mm.
that are more appealing to the younger people. But I think they could definitely make it more family orientated.
Yeah, like,
So the college you're talking about performing the jazz mob, do they not already?
they
Take
are
part
used
or-
as a venue sponsor. So some of the performances that happen, they have a
Around the
theatre.
college, Yeah.
This college has a theatre, so that's what they're used for at the moment.
So that, but
No.
so what would encourage? Have they already got a band that you could use, or would you just be
Yeah.
creating one from scratch?
No, they're art specialists. They've got the music, they've got the performing arts,
Yeah.
they've got a dance studio. They're really like rebuilding themselves at the moment. I think it's a perfect opportunity.
So what areas of marketing theory have you used to help
We
underpin
used
your
audience development theory because we thought it's still really successful with
Yeah.
its current audience, but it could be taken to a next new level with a new audience, a slightly younger audience.
So why given the objectives of the festival that you talked about, why is inclusivity and breaking down some of those barriers important to them, as well as ticket sales?
Well, I think because it does take over the whole town in the 5 days, I think it's really important that they do include everyone because it is in most pubs, in most venues, it's on the street, and they want to be inclusive because it is one of their visions. And I just think if they're just being a bit excluded and people walking past like, oh, we can't really attend something like that, that's not really what jazz portrays. Like, jazz doesn't want to be like that, it never used to be like that, so it shouldn't be like that.
So are there other ways other than the way that you communicate it through a jazz mob that would reinforce that bit of edginess that you were talking about in terms of the approach to jazz?
I think they could do it more through like social media. Their social media at the moment isn't, it's okay, but it's only, they haven't got fast. I think more younger people, if they sort of really emphasise how it's really fun across the social media platform, I think that would be really good to emphasise in the future.
How will they do that? How would you facilitate that process, do you think?
Maybe sort of newsletters which are more aimed at a vast clientele, as well as potential like even like jazz workshops just for younger people at the school, like facilitate the school's facilities as they are.
Also, they could show they could send like videos, like little clips of like maybe like a younger musician performing jazz, like more modern version of jazz, and that might get them
I think
It's quite influenced by it.
our jazz hall's a really good opportunity as well because everyone will record it and it'd be a good opportunity for us to record it. And if we put that online, that is something people think, oh, that's really cool because people
I do
are.
encourage those people who are doing the filming on their phones to actually upload it in places you want them to.
On our flyers that we hand out, I don't know, share what you've seen, make it exciting.
Yeah, that's part of it. What was the other question I was going to ask on the organisation? So can you give me a little bit more information about who organises it and who are the sort of key stakeholders?
So there's just one man,
Yeah.
his name's Ian Bowden, and he organises the festival, and he does it a lot of himself with helpers. So
Is it voluntary or is it a private concern?
No, I think it's private. Yeah, so he does it himself. I think he's got a few other people that he employs during the time to help him, and then he really heavily relies on sort of sponsors. So their sponsorship is vast. So all the venues are sponsors, the printing sponsorship, and there's the local vineyards which provide sort of champagne, and they get involved. Like the stakeholder is massive, and that's what he relies on.
Okay, so there is a financial imperative to it as well as the
And that's why
objectives.
this is quite good because there is really no cost implication to it.
Yeah.
So it's not an expensive thing, it is feasible.
Were there other areas of marketing theory that you were using as well as audience development?
We sort of looked at experientially to
Yeah.
build an excitement because there is nothing, they don't do anything like that, it's quite traditional. They hand out a flyer, they hand out a brochure,
Yeah.
they do a bit of social media, but it's nothing drastic. But I think this is experiential to build on.
What about the idea of co-creation?
Yeah. I think we did look up that.
We did research co-creation. It
Yeah.
wasn't really a main because obviously without the people there watching, it wouldn't be effective. So it's sort of a form of co-creation, but
But
it
aren't
wasn't.
you co-creating with the college? Isn't that, they are already a sponsor, they
Yeah,
are already a
that's true.
stakeholder.
Yeah.
Aren't you going that one step further and
Yeah.
getting them to help
Yeah.
build the communication, but then I assume they would perform. I mean, you're not going to have them doing the jazz mob if they aren't then
No.
going to perform.
Yeah.
Are there other ways, could you get other musicians that are involved in the programme
I think
to do a bit more on the streets? And
they are the musicians that I think they have ones that are more sort of suited for the street. Because it's not just the festival either, it's sort of blues, there's some other bits, and they sort of work better on the street as well. So I think that's what he sort of aims to do. Whereas there's some that's sort of like a piano and they sit in a garden, and that's sort of a bit different. Whereas the other things are more suited to the street.
So, are you going to feed this back then?
I think I will,
Are you
yeah.
going to do it for him?
I'm definitely going to suggest it to him. I'm meeting him in the end of this month.
Yeah.
So I think I'll suggest
So to capture. Anything else you want to say?
I think we've said everything.
Okay, thank you very much. I will turn